This is Mac OS Ken.
Apple shares fall with the rest of them. Those cheap iPhone deals cost 5,000 jobs. And a couple of tales of Apple TV Plus. It is Friday, the 25th of August, 2023. I'm Ken Ray, and this is news from Mac OS Ken. Brought to you by yours truly and supported by people like you, patrons through Patreon. Find out more and add your support at patreon.com/MacOSCan. I am not a financial analyst. This is a thing I feel compelled to say every now and then. I'm not a financial analyst. I'm not a financial advisor. I'm just a guy who's been watching tech professionally since the late 1990s with 4 years off for questionable behavior, and watching Apple primarily since 2005. But I'm not a financial analyst, and I am not a financial advisor. Like Zaphod Beeblebrox, I'm just this guy, you know? There was almost no Apple news on Thursday. Shares in the Cupertino company were down a decent amount, $4.74, or just over 2.5%, though that wasn't about Apple. It was apparently about uncertainty. A piece from Reuters says investors had hoped that Nvidia results would revive a rally in broader stock markets that had stalled recently due to concerns about interest rates staying higher for longer. Didn't happen. I mean, Nvidia did crush it. A piece from Fortune says the leading maker of data center gear used in AI systems delivered big time, lifting its generally accepted accounting principles net profits an incredible $4.2 billion, or 218%, just during the 3 months ended the 30th of July. More to come, according to NVIDIA CEO Jensen Huang. Fortune had him calling for another 18% profit jump in the current quarter. Such news was expected to reignite interest in and excitement around the rest of the tech sector, and that is the part that didn't happen. Because uncertainty, or less than great expectations. Fed Chair Jerome Powell speaks today at an annual central bank summit in Jackson Hole, Wyoming, while Reuters says that speech could provide further clarity on the direction for U.S. interest rates. The anticipated direction is up, which tends to send shares down. I found an article on Investopedia that addresses the question, how do interest rates affect the stock market? According to that, when interest rates rise, it can make borrowing money for a company more expensive, which means they have less money to invest back in the company and less cash flow stability, which typically puts pressure on share prices. Interestingly, anticipation of NVIDIA's blowout quarter may have fed into yesterday's tech sell-off. The Reuters piece mentioned earlier had analysts indicating that sales were likely tied to profit-taking after a strong run of gains heading into NVIDIA's second quarter results. I will say of the very few shares I watch in my stocks app, Apple, Fisker, AT&T, Disney, Starbucks, Microsoft, Meta, and NVIDIA, only NVIDIA ended the day green, and not by much. Having gotten as high as $502.30 a share, they ended the day at $471.63, up 47 cents. I follow those stocks out of curiosity, by the way. They interest me. I don't own any of them. Not even Apple. If I did, I would tell you. You know those aggressive smartphone promotions we keep hearing about in the States? It seems they will soon cost 5,000 T-Mobile employees their jobs. Those smartphone promotions are something Piper Sandler analyst Harsh Kumar asked about on Apple's most recent earnings call. Hitting from the angle of driving iPhone sales, the analyst asked Apple CEO Tim Cook whether carrier promotions around iPhone would continue aggressively into the December quarter. Though trying to be non-committal, Cook indicated that there would be deals to be found through at least the end of the year. Late last week, we talked about a note from Counterpoint Research. That had the firm's research director for North America, Jeff Fieldhack, saying he and his are watching Q4 with interest because the iPhone 15 launch is a window for carriers to steal high-value customers. When he says steal, I assume he means entice with promotions, not hit him on the head and put him in a bag. But wouldn't it be funny if he did? Such promotions might be great deals for the consumer, but they don't come cheap for the carriers offering them. That brings us back to the soon-to-be unemployed 5,000 at T-Mobile. The piece from 9 to 5 Max says, on the heels of announcing its Go 5G Next plan that pays for half of customers' yearly smartphone upgrades, T-Mobile has announced a mass layoff that will cut about 5,000 employees. The piece quotes a Bloomberg report saying T-Mobile CEO Mike Sievert said in a letter to employees Thursday that the cost of attracting and retaining customers is materially more expensive than it was just a few quarters ago. Building out the company's high-speed internet business and efforts in other areas are not enough to deliver on these changing customer expectations going forward, according to the CEO. That'll lead to 7% of the uncarrier's employees becoming unemployed. That amounts to roughly 5,000 jobs, according to 9 to 5 Mac. As noted by Bloomberg, cutting costs with the layoffs will allow T-Mobile to continue with aggressive pricing and device promotions as the iPhone 15 lineup is set to be announced and we head into the holidays. So, I guess now is as good a time as any to remind you about my Patreon, huh? I got a negative review on Apple Podcasts a few months back. The person said the info was good, but there were too many ads. They also put ads in quotes, like they weren't real ads or something. Here's the thing about complaining about too many ads. If you hear one, I'm getting paid for one. If you hear two, I'm getting paid for two. If you hear three, you're listening to a different podcast. I've been asked in the past whether I would do 3 per show, and the answer was no. For a 12 to 20 minute show, that felt like way too much to ask the listener to stay through. Now, if you hear no ads, well, for the past few years, this show has been mostly ad-supported, with Patreon supplementing that income. There are no ads this week. There are no ads next week. As it stands right now, there are more weeks from now through the end of the year that don't have ads that do, and the weeks that do have ads only have 1 per episode. I'm hopeful that that's going to change. Backbeat Media works hard to fill every avail. Still, there are plenty of holes on the calendar right now. So I guess what I'm saying now is a couple of things. If you would like to hear your ad here, get in touch with the folks at backbeatmedia.com. Or get in touch with me and I'll get you in touch with them. The other thing, and this is honestly a harder ask, if you can kick in on Patreon, that would be swell. I know a lot of you are probably in a situation similar to mine. Cost of everything's going up. You may have seen your hours cut or sources of income go away. If you can't kick in, that's fine. But if you can, it would mean a lot. Oh, one other thing. Please, if you would, let other people know about this show. It's been a while since I asked that, but if you could or would post about it, Twitter, Mastodon, Threads, Facebook, Instagram even, if you could let people know about this show, that would be big. I do love what we do here, you and me, every day. Whether you're able to help at all or not at all, you being here is greatly appreciated. And I thank you. Right, back to the lack of Apple news. Unless it's news when something that shows up on Apple TV Plus is shot on iPhone. To me, it's weird that everything shown on Apple TV Plus isn't shot on iPhone, with the exception maybe of Major League Soccer. The website The Wrap actually had an article in 2019 about 11 films and documentaries shot either partially or entirely on iPhone. The cameras listed for those ran in a range from iPhone 5 to iPhone 8, which is more than a few phones ago. And yet the director of Season 2, Episode 8 of the Apple TV Plus comedy series The After Party indicates that he had to fight the studio to be allowed to shoot on iPhone for a show produced for Apple. What's funny is the director, Eric Appel, was insistent on using an iPhone because he wanted it to look amateur. Video in the episode in question is meant to have been shot by a kid at a wedding. In an interview with comicbook.com, the director said, "This took a little bit of convincing, but we shot with like the native iPhone camera app. I remember everyone wanted to shoot with Filmic Pro so we'd have more control over the raw image. And I was like, it's got to look authentic. Like when you pinch to zoom, we have to see that moment when the lenses change and there's still that little blip and things go out of focus. I did take it very seriously and try to give it an authentic, found footage experience." Decide for yourself how he did. You can watch all of the After Party Season 1 and up through Episode 8 of Season 2 now on Apple TV+. And finally today, there's a new season of The Morning Show coming soon, and there's a new trailer for it now. Cult of Max says the Season 3 trailer for one of Apple's first 4 series jumps immediately to double dealing and backstabbing. Because great stories can change the world. According to Apple's Season 3 description, the stakes are high as the future of the network is thrown into question and loyalties are pushed to the brink when a tech titan takes an interest in the show's fictional network, UBA. Unexpected alliances form, private truths are weaponized, and everyone is forced to confront their core values both in and out of the newsroom. Because great stories can change the world. Returning for the 3rd season are Jennifer Aniston, Reese Witherspoon, Billy Crudup, and others. New to the mix, Jon Hamm, he of Mad Men fame and Top Gun Maverick and hopefully another Fletch movie because he was really great in Confess Fletch. Anyway, I think he was. I watched it when I was sick. The 3rd season of The Morning Show starts with a 2-episode premiere. They hit Apple TV Plus on Wednesday, the 13th of September. Between now and then, you can catch the Season 3 trailer on YouTube. macOS Ken, brought to you by me and supported by people like you, patrons through Patreon. Find out more and add your support at patreon.com/macosken. Advertising handled by Backbeat Media, online at backbeatmedia.com. You can reach me a couple of ways. Info at macosken.com or call 716-780-4080. Until next time, that is news from macOS Ken. I'm Ken Ray.
Ciao.